Welcome to Gem Collectors with Shawn. I am Shawn, and Shawn and Gem Collectors has been here doing this podcast for going on 8.5 years. Prior to that, 9 years doing a live show, 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. for 9 years on Monday morning at Gem Shopping Network as well. Couple of notes for those of you that really aren't completely aware of everything you can do. You can shop 24/7 by calling that number on your screen. Yes, we are fully staffed 24/7 network, and it's a great thing, especially if you're one of those that doesn't sleep well at night, or maybe you like to fall asleep. You know what? When I did the live show, and it wasn't an insult. It was a compliment for one that they had my show on anyway. But I had several different people that said, "We love to fall asleep listening to your show." It's like, I don't know. Maybe that's one of those left-handed compliments. But being left-handed, that I am, I took it as, well, better to be watching my show than some other show to fall asleep to, right? Subliminally getting all that info pumped into your brain. So anyway, yeah, 24/7. Wake up. You want to see something, write it down. Write down the item numbers anytime you see something. We also archive the show, so you can go back and actually... There was and he may actually be listening to the show because I know he's on the road. I won't say from where, but a gentleman that I have been talking with, one of the largest and most, very involved buyers in the mineral market, and have been discussing with him. And he didn't fully realize that my show, I offer mineral specimens. So he said, I've got to do some driving down to Florida and whatnot. Let me listen to your show. So I told him how to find it. By the way, you can either find it through gemshopping.com and go to the site and look up the host where it says meet our host and meet Shawn. Go there, click on that. And then right above my picture, there is a link to the show. Easier yet, go to just youtube.com and type in Gem Collectors with Shawn. So go to the archive shows. If there's something you see you like, I still may have it. And even if you call in the number and they say, well, we don't see that's in stock, they can tell you if it's sold. But if it says, well, it doesn't say sold, but it doesn't say it's in stock, that's because everything that I showed like today will stay available for sale for 2 to 3 weeks. All right, we figure the majority of people will watch the show within that time frame. So it's available during that period. Now, whatever doesn't sell is returned back to me and taken back out of inventory for me to do whatever I wish after that. So that's why I get the items back, and when I sale price them and re-show them to you, that's how that works. But it doesn't mean that they're not available completely. So we can always check on that, or you can always have and just say for customer service to have them check on availability. All right, we're doing something special today. We have comments. Remember, last week we tried something new for the first time, and a silent auction, and we put out a parcel of opals. And of course, this is summertime. A lot of people are traveling, especially. I heard a back-to-school commercial the other day for the first time. I thought, what in the world? And then I had to think, yeah, in Georgia, kids, yeah, and Latif comes from a different area of Georgia, different county, but so he knows it's kind of the same thing now. In Georgia, the kids go back to school now in the first week of August, and so yeah, we're only a couple weeks out from that. When I got to thinking about it, it's like, wow, the only good thing about that, guess what? Summer is going to come to an end before long, and can't wait. I walked out this morning. It was so stifling. You could cut the air with a knife. It is, the Georgia humidity is everything you might ever hear that it is, and worse. So it is certainly not anything at my age that I can get out and work prospecting, manning pine. Now, if I was diving under the water of the Etowah, in the cool waters of the Etowah, with my air hose and my wetsuit on, I could stay cool that way. Or even just kayaking down it. I have 2 kayaks and a canoe, so that's called a mining party. Put together a couple of fellas here that love mining as well, and then I'll have the support I need to hit, well, I won't give away all my secrets, will I? But just to let you know, the Georgia Prospectors Association of America, GPAA, which I'm very familiar with but not part of, that is a association you can join. And across the country, what they do, they make contracts with different areas where there's gold to allow their members to come in and run their dredges or prospect for gold on that particular property. So the fellow that I cut stones for in the Travel Channel, on the Travel Channel show, he is actually a member of the GPAA, so he allows people, because he's on the Loud Bottom claim, a very famous gold claim in North Georgia, still has 100 acres on it. And then the other one is right on the Etowah River, where I've canoed past it and actually see the people camping out. And it's funny, in the river, right around that area, the water just drops off really deep because they're, of course, running the gravel and the material in the bottom of the river and, you know, moving it upwards, run it through the dredge spits it out the tail end further downstream. So naturally, it ends up digging holes. Besides, gold's heavy, it sinks. That's where it is. And so it's kind of, the water drops off from a few feet deep to like 15 in front of the area that they have the claim. So it's a neat way for those people that don't have access to gold mining areas, like in their own backyard, to be able to run dredges in areas that's legal. Remember, I have told you the tale, and we won't go into the complete tale, but how I was doing some metal detecting with a long time ago, a friend who also was a big metal detector, and we were walking along the Etowah, never forget this, Etowah River, and all of a sudden behind us we hear, and I have to bleep this out, what the bleep, we're using the F word, are you two doing on my property? We turn around and there is a 12 gauge double barrel shotgun leveled at us. First time I've ever had, and I've been in all kinds of different places and situations, but first, you know, many times you approach someone, and I'm always, if I'm back in the woods and whatnot, I always have a weapon on my side. And well, if I showed you the bear pictures on my back porch, which I might, I might put them in to where you can see them. Yeah, we have a bear that comes about every other day now, and we have bird feeders out, and we watched him the other day take a bird feeder right off the back porch, and he has to climb a 4x4 to get there. We don't have stairs to the second level back porch. He climbs that thing, yeah. Don't ever climb a tree thinking you can get away from a black bear. They can climb better than a cat. He shoots up and down that 4x4 like a Cinderella. I mean, like just ballet. It's incredible. He got that. With one paw, he went along the edge of the railing, holding all that body weight up. With his mouth, he clamped around the feeder, took the feeder off the hook it was on, like he done it every day. And with one paw, and holding the thing, he was able to support his own weight, go along the edge, and then slide down the post like a, like a stripper. What can I say? That was the grace that this bear had. And not that I would know, of course, but the next thing we hear, we're listening, he runs off in the woods, is crunch, where he took that plastic feeder and just bit it and burst it open. So anyway, that goes back to the fact that just because someone has a weapon on their side doesn't mean that there's any ill intent. It means that there's bears in the woods that you better be, Plus, of course, the two-legged animals. Those are the ones you often have to watch out for. And there's nothing like, a preventive measure in a situation often is a show of force. And in Georgia, remember this is Georgia now, to have a gun on your, totally legal. You don't even need any kind of permit anymore to have to carry a concealed weapon. So you can have them on your hip if you want. So, it's not an uncommon thing, but it certainly is a preventive measure when someone is packing a weapon, so to speak, if you're going to be in a conflict. So, with all of us, with just my buddy and I having a metal detector in our hand, and him having a 12 gauge, he won that confrontation. Whether we were actually on his land or not, it didn't matter. We were out of there. So, it's always one of those, when you're looking for property to prospect on, you've got to make sure that you pick the right place and have the right permission, which I'm all normally for. But, we're talking about woods. We're talking about mountains. You don't know where. There's not property lines. There's not fences. But there is people that live on the land. Okay, so let's do some comments. I have a really exciting other new thing I'm trying, and that is where I actually have a turntable up. Everything's going to be the same price, but you're going to ignore the letters on it. We'll discuss it when I have it spinning. Everything is going to be one price. I'll show you that in a few moments. Let's get to the comments. Miss Barbara says, and if you remember last weekend, last show we were discussing trigons. Those are those triangle formations that you saw on that big Mysore ruby crystal, the hexagonal shaped one with the beautiful, beautiful radiation pattern, so to speak, of the triple trigons on each end. And that was really, really a impressive look for that unique formation. So Brad was talking about what other minerals might have trigons. And so Miss Barbara says, guess you did see trigons on your sphalerite specimen. Here's a sphalerite on siderite with pyrite from Mindat. So she ended up showing me a picture that had trigons on it of sphalerite, because remember, last weekend I had a sphalerite specimen and we happened to notice that there was a trigon on it, which brings me to another event. So I was thinking at the house about the trigon situation and about sphalerite, and this is a honest to goodness true story. I thought, I wonder, if any of my other sphalerites might have any trigons on them. I had to reach no more than about 3 feet to get a sphalerite specimen. It was that close, and it has, I think, we'll look at it, and we'll see if it's got trigons. It's a beautiful specimen anyway from Joplin Field, Jasper County, Missouri. So I do believe, and we'll look at the sphalerite, that sphalerite is one of the minerals that also have trigons on it. Mr. Brad has a bid, remember, so we had to put out the opals for the silent auction. That was one of the first items we did, and so silent auction means, we can do it in the comments, Shawn@gems.com, simple as that, where you just put in the bid and the highest bidder wins. And I said I would show the bids, and I will. Well, we only had 2 people that participated, which is fine. We're starting off new. We'll try, we didn't say we'd do it every week, but we'll try that from time to time. But we do have a winner that picked up those opals very inexpensively. So we'll get to the bids in just a moment. Let me finish with the one other comment. Miss Cindy, so we had Mr. Brad who bid, and we had Miss Cindy. So Miss Cindy's comment was, hello, Rock family. Wonderful show, Shawn. Gotta love that DR Congo cobaltoin calcite, the fulgurites, and the Madagascar celestine. I had heard of the limnic eruptions before, but not the Denora, Pennsylvania death fog incident in 1948. Yeah. That was something. My SUV turned out to be the throttle body per the computer code. Yeah, if you can trust those. About $450. So she lives happy to continue to be my official dogmobile. My black lab Ragnar is happy about that. Our household, big pet household. And we helped out, I think I told all of you, Summer and her husband, by the way. Yes, a couple of weeks ago, Summer, Raven's daughter, got married. So happy for them. So they had moved in, and also Darren, Summer's husband's 2 brothers. We have a big house. We were empty nesters, and these young kids had to move out from where they were, and they would need a 3-bedroom home, and they wanted to stay together as siblings, because one sibling needs some help, and they just wouldn't have been able to afford anything, and nor they also had young credit scores, so that wasn't going to help them. So they moved in, okay. With them came a dog, a cat, 5 frogs, a 7-foot snake, a 6-foot ball python. Oh, the other snake is, what is it? Honduran milk snake, absolutely gorgeous snake, Honduran milk snake. So that was about 6 feet. The ball python's about 6 feet, who belongs to other siblings. And Summer and her husband Darren clean pools as part of what their job, and she found a super tiny little turtle. It had just hatched, and it would have died. It was in the skimmer bucket of the pool. So of course she brought it home, and for this tiny little inexpensive, what would have been if you would have bought it, soft shell type turtle, a beautiful aquarium, all the stuff for it, and so really nicely done. So we have Puddles. Our dog's name is Kudzu, which we encouraged over their other name, and it was a. She paid a lot of money for it, but it was a rescue dog. So big believer. So we also already had a cat. We also feed 2 stray cats because we can't let them go hungry. Multiple deer, and now Teddy, the bear, seems to have found his way over regularly, which we'll have to do something about that in time. But he's very scared of humans, so that's a good thing. And we'll make sure it keeps it that way, because it only hurts the wildlife if you encourage them to intermingle. We don't want them moving further into the subdivision. We're at the very outer edge. We have no one in our cul-de-sac, and we back up to nothing but woods. We're safe for the bear. If he ventures further into the subdivision, there's children, and there'll be parents, and they'll have them trapped out. And, you know, to me, the bear, I have encroached on the bear's territory, not the other way around. So anyway, I'm glad to see that your SUV didn't turn out to be much. I know that the Jeep did when we had to get it fixed. I like the silent auction. Did a separate email with a bid. Everyone stay cool and be safe out there. See you next week. Okay, here we go. Here are the bids, and I am going to show Mr. Brad's and Miss Cindy's. So then you're going to see who won. Now, right here we go. You can see that we have Mr. Brad in Pennsylvania. My bid for 11 stones, $11.11, a triple deadhead bid. That's great. I love it. And then Miss Cindy, we have opal parcel bid, $25, making her the winner. Let's show her what she has won. Vanna, is that how you say it? Look at these opals, and they have color, and a lot of them go back to when I was actually a teen, and I tumbled many of these, as you can see, to bring out the color, to later finish them into doublets or
How much you getting?
yeah, so $25, which is, I know. So I mean, that opal alone that you see right there is a $25 stone. To show you what everybody is missing out on, look at this. Look at the red in that opal. And if you did that as a doublet backed against a, black onyx or something like that, it would really shine. But look at this, even against the white base, which will be a Cooper Pedy stone, you have a tremendous red. So yeah, how can that not be worth $25? Look at that opal. I mean, and it goes on and on. So very, very wise bid. If someone would have only bid $1, and if they were the only bidder, it would have sold for $1. Look at that. Look at the fire in the edge of that one.
Never want that.
Yeah. So look at that. Look at that large stone. I mean, something like that, you can just drill it at the top, wire wrap it, practice for fun if you want, and look at this. Look at this opal. That's kind of like a jelly type opal. Then look at the Mexican opal. That one's actually a cabochon. I actually did that a long time ago. You can still see some of the wax on the back. And, well, there's a couple more pieces. Actually, there's one more piece than what there was last week. I found it. There were supposed to be 12 pieces. And so there was one more. Oops. Well, you can see the red in the edge of that one. And Miss Cindy, as a bonus, I wanted you to have a before and after of Mexican opal for an idea. I am throwing in another additional opal for your participation. This opal parcel has never been offered for anything but twice, at least twice the amount that you now have gotten it for, plus the extra goodies. Congratulations to you. All right, now, that is it. We're going to show you the turntable now. Let's go to the turntable where everything on this turntable is going to be $28. $28. Now, I'm going to give you the item number of each item. There's going to be 2 rows. You see the bottom row. Okay, that's triplet on the bottom. You have amethyst on the top, cabin slide on the top. You have garnets. Two different ones. All those emeralds, $28. Look at the Bixby Eye and topaz. Look at that, amazing. Look at all those. All those tiger eyes, carved tigers. The iridescent garnet, the 3 apatites, the dravite, the blue barite, the 2 sterling silver rings with some finest antiquity you can imagine. The tourmalines, that Native American opal ring, the Vivianite, everyone, $28. That is going to be crazy. So we're going to do those one item at a time. So you have the item number, and then we're going to move on to some bigger items. So let me just let that spin for a moment and let you soak that in. $28 an item. You can't start until I give you the item number. The top row are different than the bottom row. Do not use any of the letters for any purpose in ordering them. Just use the item number I'm going to give you. Now, for $28, you're not going to get an in-depth presentation, but you will get all the information you need to make a $28 decision. This is one of the best opportunities I have ever offered by way of discounted inventory. So let's get started. I'm just organizing my bags here so that I can see what I'm doing, which sometimes that's not always so easy. Now, starting off, let's see where we're going to start off at. We've got the Vivianite up front. I'm going to let that spin for just a moment for you while I put together. Okay, if we start with the triplites, yep. Okay, we can do that. So that's what, okay. All right, let me get the computer fired up here. All right, let's see. Password entered. First item of the show. I'm getting ready to stop it on where we're going to start. And it's coming around. And let me see. Here we go. Here we go. Now, I'll turn this just as we go. So this is cool. This is cool because this is all the focus you need, and I can show a lot of items really quickly. $28 a piece. Okay, imagine how the discount this is. This is item number 121-3224. 121-3224. That will get you, look at this. This Pennsylvania Antiquity. Pennsylvania, remember I have 2 collections that I have done all my life. I focused on made in the USA specimens, which this is a Pennsylvania Antiquity, and also then my birthstone month, garnet, January. So that's why you'll see a lot of either one of those. In this case, look at this. Antiquity is the variety of serpentine that is of the finest quality. It looks like nephrite jade, even with the little dark inclusions in it. This piece is sterling silver. Have you seen what sterling silver has done? Line pit mine, old stock. I know exactly where this has come from. $28. The next one, you get a chance at the next ring. Item 121, 3124. 121, 3124. Look at that. Look at that. This is another very beautiful antigrite. I know what it was, because you know what? Latif can see in his computer as he enters the number what I asked for these items previously, and that's why you're going to hear him not be really happy. He's a better businessman than me. I've always said that, and if he took care of my finances, I would be way better off. But like, he also agreed with it. He goes, let's sell some stuff. You got some goods, let's sell some goods. And, if you don't buy them at this price, of course, they're never going to be anything less than this price. This is your chance. Okay, so this ring, you see the size there. Yeah, the item number 121, 3124. Did we pull that up for everyone? Okay, great. So size 9. I can't really size these effectively. Serpentine doesn't take heat. These have wide shanks. The wide silver, if you don't realize or have never worked with it, has a heat transfer property. When you see that thing advertised that will defrost your meat really quickly, what it is, it's an aluminum block. Aluminum is the inexpensive metal that draws heat. And I'm talking about heat, it doesn't matter. When they talk about temperature, they don't talk about temperature as being hot or cold. It is, in other words, when you say it draws heat away from something, it can be a frozen block of hamburger. But just like stupid heat pumps, that are supposed to pull and create heat out of cold air, I don't know how that works. Still don't. So silver is like aluminum on steroids for pulling heat, temperature away from something. So if you really wanted to defrost something, put it on a silver plate or platter, and you will just be amazed at how quickly that works. Okay, so the next item we're going to do this. Look at that. Look at that. As I said, ignore the letters. They're not going to get you anywhere, but these numbers will. Item 120, 49, 24. 120, 49, 24. Petaniera. I'm talking about one of the most world-famous places for tourmaline. This is a stunning 2-crystal collection. You can see the clarity and the green in this one. I know. So you already know the price, $28. That is facet grade throughout the entire crystal. And let me bring this down and let me show you. Look how unique that color is. That's a blend. It's a purplish yellow. Well, it also has a unusual twist to the crystallization of it, which is kind of unique. And then this crystal, look at the clarity to this. Look at that gem. That is gem all the way. Petaniera. That would fasten. That's why you see tourmaline cut in long, slender stones very often. It's because the shape of the crystal, and you're looking at exactly the reason why. They tend to come long, prismatic they call it, long and slender. You see that triangular trillion shape to the end of it. One of the tells when you're looking at something to determine whether it's a tourmaline or whether it's an aqua or something else, look for that shape. All right, $28 for both. That facet grade piece alone, especially from location. Look at this, far exceeds that. Look at this. Now, yeah, sorry about that. Look at the next incredible item. And here is a chance to get in on a piece that I can't believe I'm really offering it this inexpensively. I know, just believe it. So hold on, let me flip through here for a moment and locate this jewel. Well, it's probably right here. Okay. Now, here we have, look at this. Look, yeah, you could definitely say it is a summer closeout at pricing like this. Here, this is item number 121.99.24. 121.99.24. And this is the real deal. This is the real deal for Native American jewelry. This is a Sleeping Beauty mine, and you can see the actual that scribble on the back is the actual signature of the silversmith that made that. You see that as I catch the light on that? Yeah, that is intentional. You ought to see a lot of their other different signatures are similar to that. So this, being Navajo, has a classic Navajo versus Zuni style, where it's a bigger stone and scalloping like that. And you can see the quality is classic Sleeping Beauty color. And if you wonder why they call it Sleeping Beauty, go ahead and look it up. I've actually been by the Sleeping Beauty mountains. Yeah, if you look at where Globe, Arizona is and the mountain range there, it looks like is Sleeping Beauty lying down on a cross section of her lying down, and it does. It looks like Sleeping Beauty if you looked at it from a sideways cross section. So kind of interesting name, and probably goes quite far back in the history of that area. Now look at these cabochons. Look at these. These are an opportunity, and let me again find the bag that they were in. So, Miss Raven, could you come over here for a moment and help me? All right. Item number 118-1424. Could you find the next one? That one's going to be by tonight. So, 118-1424. And Specimen, do you have this one? Yeah, let's see. 116. Boy, is that a 6? Yeah. 116-1424. Sorry about that. That's my one of the places I need to go to is the eye doctor. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. And then could you find the bag for this one? That I already showed, but I couldn't find the bag to it. All right, look at these. Okay, Madagascar Specimen cabochons, and boy, $28 for all those facet grade quality. And remember, Specimen is the manganese garnet, so you are going to get a magnetic draw. It's obvious by the color that they are not of the iron garnet family, which has a much different, distinct color. These are classified as red or orange, and certainly also due to the refractive index difference, you can tell. Specimen, you can't really measure, it goes really high, but almandine you can catch often with the refractometer. Remember, 1.81 is as high as the refractometer will go. Okay, the next one you have, look at this, bitonite. Now remember, we've talked about bitonite before, being named that because it was the old name for Ottawa, Canada. So it was called Bytown. And this is a type of feldspar given that name. And if you know, feldspar family is really complicated, kind of like garnets, except even a little bit more so. It's a calcium aluminum silicate, and where it falls between an anorthite and albite plagioclase. So it depends on the amount of calcium relative to percentages of other elements in the other garnets that can vary, like in albite, sodium. So there's a fine line between well, they intermingle, just like the garnet family. So it kind of gets difficult. But these are certainly the bitonite. And it's also the feldspar that most likely was used to be treated and diffused into a orange feldspar that many years ago caused quite a stir in the gem world due to whether there existed a mine or not. But we'll stay away from that because that was a mess. I am glad that I wasn't any part of that. All right, as we come around here, look at this. This is one of my favorite recent discoveries of Vivianite. And Vivianite is a really unusual stone due to the way it forms. It likes a low oxygen environment and is clear in that environment. But as soon as it is exposed to oxygen, it oxidizes to the blue and green colors. Now, these Vivianites were found in a bog off the Amazon River in an upper tributary of it. And in the bog, there were these, what they call these pods, these pockets in the swamp that were oxygen, low oxygen. That's why bogs can eventually become fuel. Peat bogs, you hear about that and whatnot. And also preserve, you hear about the bogmen that are found in England, these bodies that are preserved for a long time, low oxygen. Also, Vivianite is created by the human body as it decomposes due to the presence of iron and phosphorus in the body. And all right, the item number, that was the 4-piece one. Let's see. Let me get that item number. Okay, now the Vivianite. That one would have been wrapped up. That one's got the 4 pieces that we're going to show. And I am. This is a really great looking crystal. Okay, here we go. Item number 1257125. And if you could find the next item for me. All right, check this out. Look at this. Look at this crystal. This is one of the really nice crystals because it has, look at that, almost a clear area in the middle, or it's much lighter tinted. You can see the, look at that even thickness. So what a incredible, perfect cleavage to this piece. Wait, let me see. Oh yeah, right. This is different because we have the other pieces are these up above it. Right. This piece, yep, item 1257125. Now look at that thickness. Only $28 on this. This is a wonderfully large, fantastic. Now I'd say facet grade, but it's the hardest of 1.5 to 2, so not something you can pass it. But you can see blue tints through it in different angles of light also. So it's really an interesting piece. So we'll just leave that right there for you to see. Only $28 if you don't have one of those. Next, I have item number 1252325. 1252325. Now, we were talking about Petanera, one of the other most world famous places for tourmaline, Paprock. Paprock, Afghanistan. Here is a parcel. Look at that, facet grade, $28. You know the price. Look at how the quality of these. Let me get my tweezers because that really shows you what you get. Look at that. So, boy, you could easily just facet these or make them as part of a tourmaline collection. This little guy hiding out back there. And tourmaline is such a beautiful mineral. There's so many different colors.
cheap.
Yeah, exactly. Latif said they don't want to be sold. They're too cheap. The stones think they're worth more. That'd be funny, sort of. Not really. Look at the clarity. What if the stones talk back? Boy, I'd be in trouble all the time. $28 on that. All right, the trip light. Take a look at this. Now this, believe it or not, this entire parcel, I have really dropped the price on this parcel of trip light because I have a lot of trip light, but it doesn't mean I have to give it away. If I wet these, they would look really dynamic. They are, many of them, you can see the clarity, cutting quality. You could cut some smaller, wonderful stones, tumble these. If you have a tumbler, these would be super pieces to put even just a light tumble, take just some of the outer portion off, and wow, you'd really have something. If you don't have any triplite at all in your collection, triplite doesn't form good crystals. It's always in a much more massive type look, even though these are crystalline. That's just as good as triplite really gets for 95% of the material. But you know, if I hold this up to the light, it's just wonderful, wonderful. Here's just a random piece. You can see, look at the colors, the pinks and the oranges behind that. So $28 opportunity for all that triplite. It's never been that inexpensive. Now look at this. Here is a parcel, item 116 4324. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. The triplite. Is, and I had all these in order. Okay, here we go. Item number 1176724. 1176724 is the triplite. Big markdown, only $28 on that. And then now we come around to these jewels. Look at these. I have to just take these out so you can really appreciate them. Facet grade quality. This is item number 1164324. 1164324. And let me, let's see. 1164324. And look at these. This is your almandine garnet. And look at the color in that. Look at the color, and that's why you can tell the difference between a spessartine and an almandine is the color range. And these are, you know, look at that, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, let me move my thumb. You can really see the clarity. So, facet grade quality and almandine garnet. Next, I have three. This is one of those giveaways. Garnets, rhodolite garnets. Look at those. Beautiful Tanzanian rhodolite. Item 124. Whoops, let me scan that and get the. Scan it when you find the bag, please. Look at that. Look at the quality of those stones. Yep, it is 1240424. All three. Okay, so what does that make those a piece? You're talking about $9 a piece. Yes, sir. 1240424. And Tanzanian rhodolite, 4.70 carat. 8x6 millimeter, 3 stones. There you go. I know, you looked at the price before, didn't you?
Yeah.
You looked at what, I know. But let's see if anyone takes advantage of it. You know, because I could make it $5, but if no one buys it, then what's the difference? Okay, thank you, ma'am. Now, next, the emeralds. And this is a parcel you've seen before. But you've never seen all these emeralds for $28. $28. And there's one stone in here somewhere. It might be that one. Look at the clarity. It is also a fantastic educational parcel. You can learn a lot by looking into emeralds. And this is one. Another one doesn't want to get sold because it's too cheap. So, you know, let's see. Let me give you that item number. 120, 60, 24. 120, 60, 24. So for all of those, 14 carats. That's $2 a carat. $2 a carat. Maybe it was this. There was a really nice emerald cut shaped stone that was really pretty. That's one of them. That's all right. That's one of them. Look at that. I mean, when you consider that, you know, $2 a carat, if that's a 1 carat stone or bigger, you're talking 50 cents, 75 cents. I mean, yeah. Now, next, look at this. Look at these guys. And 1, 2, look at the carvings. Some face left, some face right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Look at the eyes in those tiger eyes. Incredible, incredible quality. Now, this is item 119, 37, 24. So if there's 7 and they're $28, that's $4 each. This is natural color tiger eye. Now, I'm going to give everyone a little. Okay, let me check it. I'm looking. 119, 37, 24. There we go. Natural color, South Africa. South Africa is known to have some really nice tiger eye. Now, a lot of people don't understand tiger eye or what it even makes it up. Even scientists have different opinions, so you'll read different things. But in general, subparallel intergrowth of quartz and altered amphibole fibers that turn into limonite or crocidolite. That's all. It's just a simple explanation, right? Seriously, that's it. So I'll read that again. Subparallel intergrowth of quartz and altered amphibole fibers that turn into limonite or crocidolite. I mean, you know, gemology is easy, isn't it? I do take a step further because you're never going to hear that description anywhere else but this show. I'm the one that will tell you that it is subparallel intergrowth of quartz and altered amphibole fibers that turn into limonite or crocidolite. Yeah, look at the quality of the carving of these. I've actually collected these and taken them out of individual rings and whatnot. You've seen them in men's rings over time. So some of them are estate, some of them I don't know. I've just collected. You can see the double one, but these actually are of a really nice high-end quality, all of them. And you can see from my finger roughly the size of those for $28 on all of them. And so it was only discovered by a Frenchman in 1784. And so, you know, that's kind of like in the new. That's because where some of the material was discovered, you know, in South Africa, some of these more remote places, it wasn't something in Europe that was available and seen. So now, next we have coming around, those appetites. And I'm telling you what, those guys, let me give you the item number for it. Item 124 3425. 124 3425. And see if it's in here. Yeah, I was afraid of that, of what I had asked. This is apatite. These are actually really nice quality apatites. They're well cut. And I checked them to make sure it wasn't something like green zircons. But these are so much more rare than if they were tourmaline, a green apatite in this color. This is a natural color. This is, let me see. Yeah, Madagascar material. That's what I thought. Look how well cut the grain one is. For $28, 4.57 carat, you just cannot find that material. Whoops, that inexpensively. They want to run away too. Exactly. No one wants to be sold at those insulting prices to the mineral specimens. Look at the dravite now. The dravite. And this dravite is not your run-of-the-mill dravite. It is, they're floaters. So floaters mean that they are not attached. You can see, look at that perfect three-faced termination on that end. And look at how well and terminated that one is. And so by showing you these like that, and you can see those perfect three-phase terminations, these make good educational material. Item number on that is 1269725. 1269725. And so floaters are when you have a crystal or a cluster or whatnot, and there's no area visible to where you can see they were connected to a matrix or a specimen. So with terminations on both ends, you can see that they were not. And let me just bring that in. Look at that. Look at that yellow, and look at the clarity. You could really, and I've seen dravite faceted like this. They have no problem faceting one in a yellowish color, which is rare like that, with inclusions in it. You just don't see them. So yeah, you'll see them maybe with some inclusions. To see them without inclusions would be kind of difficult. The material tends to lend itself to that. Most dravite is opaque and you cannot see through it. Look at that. Now, that's what I'm talking about. This becomes an educational piece when it's like that. Let me show you the other one. And here you have the coffee color. Look at, see that color? You have the yellow in the other one, and in this one, it also is a translucent piece, but it's of the richer, there we go, there's the light into it, you can see in the coffee color dravite. Again, to be able to see at all into a dravite is unique and unusual. Okay, that covers the bottom row. Now, we're going to move to the top row and start with this barite. This blue barite is a real prize. When these blue barites were first found in Morocco, they hit the market, and we were going to shows at the time when they did, and it was a big deal. This is item number 1209724. 1209724. And this is an opportunity to get just one of the crystals by itself, because oftentimes I know they're associated with the Jebel Wuchain mine, or however that might be pronounced. You can see that wonderful blue. And I offered these in the crystal clusters, but they are found with the very limonite, very iron oxide kind of matrix, and maybe aren't the most attractive specimens, but by way of rarity, it really was unique to find these blue barites. So here's a chance to have a nice single crystal specimen for only $28 on that. I know. Now let's look at, here we go. We're working on the top. This is one of the most, I couldn't believe this when I agreed to put this one up there for $28. We needed another item to kind of fill the top, and I thought, okay, why not? Now, this is a test. This is a test of the emergency brain system to see just how wise everyone is out there. I don't mean to insult anybody. Item 124-4025. 124-4025. And the quality of this, now I'm just going to take this out because it's just worthy. It's certainly not for me to take the time for the $28, but I just want to show everybody what kind of opportunities that in this show you can find, because I don't have a lot of this stuff. I've collected over 50 years of collecting, and I often don't know my costs, or the costs are whatever I want it to be. Look at that. Look at that purple color tone in that. Yeah. And you can see it's a clean stone. You can see, look at how many facets are on the back side. So, wow. Okay, so that is a modified Portuguese they put on that. And if you're a cutter and want to have a little bit of fun, you could easily improve upon this if you wanted to. Yeah, I didn't even see the graphic up there where it does say, I'm glad I'm consistent, because I only looked at it and said it's the modified Portuguese cut, but if I didn't see the graphic, there actually says that in the graphic as well, which I, would have written the graphic some time ago. $28 on that. All right, a carat 69. Tanzanian spinel. That is a crazy price. And for those of you that got in on those purple Tanzanian crystals I offered before, what a fantastic before and after that would make. So I am just going to put this back in its little home. You can see how large of a stone that is. And if you do not have a representation of a purple spinel, now listen, from Tanzania, then you need one. I have had the purple ones, and you guys have bought them from Burma, so you can learn. Look at them for the difference in inclusions. Look at them for the difference in the slight color tones. That's how, in the end, oftentimes you can determine origin, is by having the proper specimens to look at for comparison when you're trying to determine other things. But that's on a gemological level. For those of you just collecting for the hobby, wow, just have a collect locations. Collect a Burma spinel, get one from Tajikistan. I've had pink that no one bought. They ended up being so inexpensive, I kept them. Remember the bag I had of 50 carats of pink facet grade? Now they were smaller, but they were facet grade Tajikistan spinel. You know the Black Prince's ruby in the Royal Crown jewels that was thought to be a ruby in the king's crown? It turned out to be a spinel from Tajikistan. As modern gemology advanced, and they were able to determine what it was. Now, this next deal here is a multiple opportunity on Vivianite. And here it is, let's see. Yep, I have it. Item 1257025. 1257025. Now, I am going to tell you right now, this is a multiple crystal opportunity. Look at the blues at different angles, to where you can even give some away. $28 for all 4 pieces. Now, I'm telling you this because by the time you get it at home, it might have multiplied. I'm sorry. You know what you're going to get from this show? Honesty. You're going to get honesty. Even, you remember my story on the Galena geode? I told on myself. What a fool I was. I told it so everyone can learn from it. And the same thing with this. You're going to learn from it because this used to be one piece. It decided to have a unscheduled disassembly. And as they call it in rocket speak. So if rockets can do it, so can crystals. Look at the blues in this. It actually makes for some wonderful specimens that way, because here we go. It stayed in one piece. It slipped off. Yeah, I know. We're impressed that it didn't come apart. This would be called, it has a splintery fracture, okay? In other words, if splinter, meaning, let me show you. If you get one of these babies in your skin, you will, look at these, cry. Everyone has to learn, right? And learn the hard way. Look, this little dagger, look at that. That is a dagger. You can't even see the end of it. It's actually clear. There, let me catch the light on. Look at that. Look at that. Now you can see it. See that? You couldn't even see it. See that? It disappears. That could go into your skin. You know, I'm a really great salesman. Aren't I? Doesn't it make you want to buy these Vivianites? But I'm a truth teller. You will get the truth. So this Vivianite was one piece that decided to become 4, and by the time you get it at home, it might be 5 or 6. But you're buying the quantity. You're buying the bargain. Okay, so doesn't matter how many pieces. It's cool. It's inexpensive. It's a bargain. Take advantage of it. All right, next item. These are coming around to the last $28 items here. Look at this. Here is an amazing amethyst, and this amethyst is beautiful. It's item 1270225. 1270225. Now, if I said I have a gorgeous amethyst,
127.
yep, 1270225, and if I said it came from Namibia, you would say Brandberg. You'd have to say Brandberg. Brandberg amethysts are very easy to spot. They have very kind of typical looks to them, and you'll learn that. But you won't learn it unless you have amethysts from different places around the world so you can compare. Look at this. I'm going to show you an amazing phantom. Look at the phantom in this. And if you can see, let me get my other pointer here and catch the light just right. There is, of course, you have the darker phantom, but there's another lighter phantom above that. Let me catch the angle. Look at the colors in that. You have everything from the pink. You have blues. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. And that's what makes these Brandbergs special. Oh, also, and I didn't look, in hydros, they can have bubbles, great bubbles. I know. It is a beautiful, beautiful crystal, fantastic termination, and it's only $28, and it's full of education for you too. Because you know what? I see those little dots in there, and I didn't look closely. They may be, it might be hematite. It might be like some of the that Canadian material, little tiny dots. So anyway, a great educational piece, and for a super bargain. The phantom part really makes it a deal. Now, let's see. We have, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Look at that. Look at that. That is one of the cabin sites. Maybe like the only one we have left. We'll see if that one I showed last weekend sells. It should. This one, item 1263925. 1263925. Everyone should get in on these. When I had these, I set aside the ones that we kind of liked from a large quantity of them, and we only have a couple left. So the ones that we're showing now were ones we cherry picked. I'm just going to be honest in this case, and you can see. I'm going to tell you why we picked this one. You see how it's under the overhang of this? Look at that still bite. Isn't that? And because it's under the overhang, the crystals were protected, and they. Let me show you. Look at this one. I'm trying not to break it with my. Okay, look at this one on the end. Let me see if I can get more light back there. And that's what made us like this particular one, is because you were able to get these crystals. Look at, I'm catching the light on that one, all the way to the complete termination, whereas other ones, they have might be broken off. Look at that. Look at. Isn't that beautiful? Cabinite is my most logical named mineral of all time. It means exactly what it is made up of. Ca for calcium, Va for vanadium, Van for vanadium, and Si for silicon. A name that makes sense. Look at all these other cool pockets of stilbite, and let's see, even on the back, yeah, any of these little bugs. It is amazing and such a beautiful, beautiful mineral. $28 on that. Oh, also, the way they cut these is very aesthetic. You see how they out of the material, how they will carve them so that they display well at different angles for you. So there's a beautiful one right there. All right, as we're coming around, I know, look at this, we're almost to the end of the $28 ones. This is one of the rarest pieces I have shown, and this is at a huge discount because I personally love this specimen, and why no one has gotten it is beyond me. This is item 1243725. 1243725. Look at this. Okay, Maynard Bixby. He has he had Bixbyte named after him, which was, of course, the red beryl. Don't ever say red emerald. That is an oxymoron. You know, yet a business tried to name itself Red Emerald at the time years ago. They even set up at the show out there as Red Emerald, and it like no. I mean, that would be like saying I don't know. I don't know two more opposite colors. You know? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like yellow tanzanite. There is yellow zoisite, but there's not yellow tanzanite. You're right, because yellow tanzanite, that wouldn't then be a tanzanite. Yeah, exactly. So, you have some of the finest crystal forms of Bixbyite. Bixbyite is the official name, and it is retained for being named after him. He was he was set out as a surveyor, and he discovered Topaz Mountain. He discovered all kinds of really cool things in the process of surveying the West. Could you imagine being some of the first people out there and finding those deposits? I know, wouldn't that be something? You know, Latif and I were talking before the show started about gold mining. He's always been interested in gold mining, and wherever he goes, I hope he takes me with him as his professional. Yeah, because you know, I could gold mine and take it a step up, and I'd love to do that. But anyway, I just like that because anything I ever say, he looks up. He looks it up and he learns. He learns. Like this sphalerite. I'm going to show you something in a minute. Don't let me forget to show this sphalerite. And he looked up trigons. He looked up sphalerite and just absorbs that kind of stuff. So anyway, manganese, iron, and oxygen is what makes up Bixbyite. Topaz, aluminum, fluorine, and OH, which is hydroxide. And what do we have at the very end? Let me see. We have silicon and oxygen. So here you go. The top one is the Bixbyite chemical formula: manganese, iron, oxygen. The bottom one, aluminum, fluorine, which is cool, and a hydroxyl molecule, and Si, silicon and oxygen from Wab County, Utah. Now, you see, where's the topaz? Look at this. The topaz, as what is common in that area, often has sand inclusions, and that's what you see here is sand inclusions. But you can see a little bit of the topaz blending through. So these are your well-formed topaz crystals. I think this makes it even more unusual as a collector piece. Look at the two. Look at that. Look at how well-formed the Bixbyite crystals are on this. This is a fits in one of the little perky boxes, so it is, you know, considered like a thumbnail specimen, but you can see compared to my finger, it's nice size. And who has Bixbyite if you don't have that specimen? Okay, let me show you. I decided to put this in here because everyone needs to own one of them. This is item number, let's look here. Yep, item number 1168624. And let me take it out of there. 1168020. Yeah. Let me scan. Okay, good. Thank you. 8624. Okay. The iridescent Japanese rainbow garnet crystals. I've talked about these. You can already see. Look at the purple on that little tiny face, and the color of purple. The iridescence on these crystals are like no other. The mine was only open for about a year before the Tenkawa Village elders. Well, look at the color on that one. I can see it. I just have to catch the right angle. Look at those colors. Wow. Look. Oh, the purple. You see, look at that purple coming out of there. Good grief. I know. And this is I am offering this crystal for $20. If you go on the internet, I saw they were selling 75-point ones for around $78 each, and they had no color. No color. And this is a fantastic opportunity. Of course, it's my birthstone garnet, so I'm going to give you a great deal and a great opportunity if you do not have one of these yet. It's just a matter of catching the light at the angles. These faces all have, I know, I just saw that. Oh, look at that. There's the green and blue, or look at those colors. Wow. That had that purple face, didn't it? Is that the purple one? Oh, and even if you drop them, they end up turning up, and you get to see another side to them. That is, there we go. Look at that. Just by chance, I picked it up in a different angle, and boom, blue. So anyway, needless to say, that has beautiful colors on all different faces. And last week I offered one that was faceted. This, why not? If you want to facet, it would be a great one to play around with and learn, because it's not a perfect crystal shape. So if you want, but other than that, add to your garnet collection for only $28 from a mine that was closed and will not be reopened. Ooh, look at the color on that one. Oh, okay. And the purple. There, we'll just leave it on that. All right, I believe that does it. I'm going to let this spin for just a moment and let everyone take that in. Hold on one second. There we go. Thank you, sir. Sorry about that. And let everyone take these items in. Remember, you cannot order them from any letters. You have to go back and listen to the individual item number for the piece. Each item is only $28. All right, we have some cleaning up to do, so I'm going to let this spin around one more time. Look at those rings. Those are silver rings with rare antigerite, high quality serpentine. That spinel, $28. The bitonite, the vivianite specimens, you get 4 for $28. The tourmaline, look at the triplite, the cavensite. You have 2 types of garnets there. There's the Bixbyite, excuse me. Look at that parcel of emeralds for $28. All those tigerites, the 3 apatites. That is definitely a summer close-out special. I'm ready for summer to end here in Georgia. I got my power bill, $651. Yes, that was shocking. But that is having to run the air for other people. And it's been above 90 degrees here every single day, which is some of the longest period. Oh, yeah, some of the longest time period of 90s I have seen for some time. And yeah, we're just trying to get to it. Yeah. So that's what I told her. I said, okay, we're going to go, our renters, we're going to have to get more money from the renters. Indeed. All right, we're going to pick this up and take it away, and I'll be right back. Rare collector crystal. Circa 1970s. Look at this guy. Wow, look at this. Okay, look at the size of this. Look at, and then you see the reds. And okay, so we have in there watermelon tourmaline. So watermelon tourmaline, of course, is based on, you cut a watermelon in half. What do you see? You see, the green, yellowish rind turning into the white part of the rind that you don't like to eat, it's not sweet, before you get to the pink. So watermelon, to me, should have the white rind in it properly to be a true watermelon, especially when you talk about faceted stones, especially for what they charge for something like that. Other than that, it's a bicolor tourmaline. Now, in something like this, it's tough to be able to completely view the all the colors, because let me show you the backside. Look at this. Look, this is pretty neat. This is you can imagine how big the whole crystal was at one time, but this would have been like a cluster, it appears, because look at this incredible pink color here. And let me just bring that light in. And you can see the translucency throughout, and you can see that there were multiple crystals that were formed. There's one there, there's one there, you can see another one here. They all grew together, creating one striated formation. And from the bottom, you can see it was sawed off. Now, my thoughts on this piece was, if you took a saw, you could still keep the specimen. Take a couple slices off the bottom, and you could put an amazing polish on them, or do one of Shawn's CP spray polishes on them, and see what you get. See what kind of color differences you get. You certainly have multiple colors here. And then here's why the watermelon. See, I tell the truth on myself, too much so sometimes. So you have what is the outer rind, and if you can see, there is a lighter band right through here along the edge of, there it is, perfect job. See, that's why you work with the same person like Latif for so many years doing this. This is what we were just talking about. The he knows how to shoot every different mineral and how to bring out what the human eye sees. And that's exactly, I didn't see it a moment ago, but his camera work is what brought out what I was trying to convey to all of you, and that is this lighter band. So absolute camera work is what allowed me to be able to show that to you. So that lighter band right here. So that is where I'm getting off, and then you have the pink on being called a watermelon. And if you had a slice of that, it would look much lighter in color and much more reflective of what you think a watermelon is. This is a wonderful group of mixed color crystals. Even this is not black. It is a very saturated, probably red maybe. Have to look at that. But this would be a really neat specimen to saw up if you wanted to, or keep it as it is. I have a wonderful, wonderful opportunity on, that is just, you know, other than if you had to spend lots of money to get something, for the amount of money, that really is a showy piece in a collection case. Yeah. I'm sale pricing it, unfortunately. Yeah, I know. You're not going to like it because you're going to see what I priced it for last time.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I know. So let's make it happen for somebody. $98. $98 on that. And look at the carat weight, 497 carats. And I've had this one a long time. The thing about it is, for $98, I could take my saw, if, of course, I could, time-wise is the other thing. And you see how I have fun slicing pieces really, really thin. It is, I have the saws to do it. I have like, I don't know how many, 6, 8 diamond saws. Big ones, little ones, thin blade ones, fat blade ones. And I could slice thin slices off this and get it really transparent so you can see all those wonderful colors, and you'd still have a specimen left. And then if I sold those separate pieces like that, you could recoup in one slice, big slice, almost the entire $98, you know, in my view. So anyway, I think for many different reasons, that is a beautiful display item. Now, here is another one. Item 126.9925. 126.9925. Now, speaking of beautiful display items, here we have, look at this. Look at this. So there's that one. We're going to make that one go away. All right. Namibian, aquamarine, and shoral. And now, remember we talked about foytite, where a lot of the Orongo shoral is actually foytite, which is the vacancy dominant tourmaline, which is a really unique rare tourmaline. It would almost be hard pressed to say there isn't some foytite mixed in with this. Foytite is known to grow these little tiny crystals packed in close together. You know, so, but without knowing for certain, I default to shoral, the less valuable of them. All right, you have a really nice shape aquamarine here. You have a couple of others blending in. You also have lepidolite and albite. So albite is a feldspar. And then the shoral, let me see. So the lepidolite is some of these small little pearlescent. You can see the little pearlescence on them, reflections. And then this, under magnification, boy, that is a party to be had. Actually, let me look at something here and just have a little fun for a moment. Here we go. That's just a 10x loop, a standard 10 power loop. And this is why everyone should have magnification, even though it might be detrimental to some sales. But I like you to see everything you're getting. All right, there we go. There's a little pearlescent in there, which you can see now. How cool is that? The lepidolite, those little cream-colored, yeah. It's really neat. And let me move the light for a minute. So right there at the top is where they are. Yeah, I'm just seeing if any different. Look at that. So anyway, yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Exactly there. You know, I wish you could mark stuff up as we were talking on, that'd be fun. Something else for you to do back there, right? Anyway, look at all these other really cool crystals. Even look at these. See, that's what, until you get looking closer, you don't really know everything you're getting for the money in something like this. But look at that. Look at that. I mean, that's value. That's aesthetics. That's what makes these pieces desirable and collectible. All right, I'm going to deep discount this one. I know, much to Latif's dismay. And I know, everyone's gonna love it. Only if you take advantage of the price. $78. $78 on that one. Big discount, as I said I was going to do. Now this, I have this silver specimen back here. And well, here's the other surprise. Okay, first, not the silver specimen, but if I talked about a mineral, an element, or mineral, and I said that in the end product it was a silvery liquid, what mineral would I be talking about? So, what ore body mineral, upon processing, turns into a liquid? There's only one thing it could be. Item 1270125. 1270125. And what is so amazing is how beautiful the color of this material is before it turns into mercury. Yep. Mercury. Cinnabar. Look at this. Look at this jewel. And I'm talking about, that is like Mogok Burma red. I mean, if not even better than that. Let me pull this up for a moment so I can really give you, look at that. Look at that red. They have faceted cinnabar before like this. It's a very soft, and yeah, you got to have a lot of material to get one to come out. Look at the end of the termination, though. You can see that. I don't guess it forms a trigon, even though that is a triangle. Look at this. So it is on dolomite. The beautiful white crystals around it, dolomite. And the Tongren mine produces some of the world's best cinnabar specimens. This, look at the size of this. This is a large one. Why did this not sell? You can see other small ones dotted around. And I think it's amazing. I think the chemical formula is only HGS, HG standing for mercury. There's another little one there. And sulfur, so it's weird. Galena is just lead and sulfur. Sphalerite is just zinc and sulfur. Yet they don't look anything like zinc. It doesn't look, this mercury. Who would have ever thought that you're going to get a liquid, silver liquid, from something so beautiful as that? It's just a very simple chemical formula. The difference sulfur can make in so many specimens is really amazing. A sulfide. So very simple, yet completely alters the look of a specimen. So that's one of them. Now, before I forget, we talked about sphalerite and the trigons. Let me show you the specimen that literally I said, I wonder where our sphalerite is, and she's gone right now. All I had to do was, she had this next to the coffee pot. Yeah, it was just sitting next to, oh, yeah, this specimen, oh man. Only $54. Yep, only $54. That is one of the bigger single well-formed crystals of cinnabar that I have seen out of any of these specimens. And I think this might be the last one I have of this material. So if you want a really good deal, you can see how large that is. An excellent opportunity for someone. Okay, now, sphalerite and trigons. So yeah, this actually, next to the coffee pot, I'm telling you, if you saw our house, you guys, your heads would be spinning because you would just see specimens everywhere. You would not believe it. Yeah, so there's a little Okay, this brings me to another story. Okay, so something else that all of you can get, and something that I did. I went when they were building out the last of the homes in our neighborhood. I met the general manager to complain about actually silt running off down the street. But in my let's say I'm going to call your boss if you don't clean this mess up type of conversation that we had, it led to him telling me that I could have all kinds of these leftover parts to building this house pretty much if I just didn't say anything. You know, call it what you want, but everything's in negotiations, it seems sometimes, because you know what I wanted? You know what he had? He had leftover tile pieces of the neighbor's countertop, which was full of garnet crystals and had some moonstone reflections. And she didn't even know it. She ended up to be a good friend of Raven's, and we pointed them out to her. All right, this leads me to one of the cool things you can do. You can do exactly that. You can go to these builders and whatever leftovers they have, get it from them. Because I should show you. I should show you some of the 1 foot squares that they use to create either flooring or countertops or whatnot, but of these different, completely genuine, all natural mineral specimens. And beautiful black granite with incredible other inclusions in it of hornblends and amphiboles and really neat things you can find. So I have these 1 foot squares, and they're about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch thick, and I use them for all kinds of things. And oh, she's back. Anyway, she uses them to set specimens on, and this is the sphalerite I was talking about. Now, this is from Missouri, Joplin County, and if we, you can look at this, as I was looking at this, and there is definitely, this is just a single sphalerite crystal, which is really unique to see in itself. And in examining this closer, and as Barbara said when I was talking about the diamond crystals with the inverted triangles being the word hopper that they use, which you see that in gold crystals when they're done like that too. They use the term hopper. Okay, now let's look. I saw on this, let me get my loop out and cruise this piece for a moment. There were some really interesting smaller crystals. Now this, you only find this kind of fun in this show. So what we're looking for, are little trigons, little triangles, and let me see on that. I'm just wondering what that is. That's a little crystal face of that. What is that? Another mineral maybe. So let me keep exploring. There we go. There we have some inverted. That's one I saw some yeah.
Go back.
Yep. Oh, there we go. Exactly. Look at the concave type crystal formations, and then let me cruise over this for a moment, because I saw in this piece some very distinct.
What's that? That's a big.
I know. No. Some very distinct. Let me see this. There we go. Go all the way in, and maybe I can find them, and then zoom in. Because I was actually, when Raven was driving, I was looking at this piece with the sun and the loop, the things I do going down the road, right? And it was fascinating after thinking about the trigons and formations of them, and then looking at this. You can also see a fan kind of spray pattern to that.
The tip of that one.
Yeah. Oh, maybe right there. Let me look right there. That might have been the area I had seen.
Almost got that. Almost.
Yeah.
spring, ain't they?
Oh, there we go.
I'm seeing other stuff now.
Yeah, I know. There is. This is one of those pieces that you see so many different generations of growth, actually, and different forms that the sphalerite formed in. And one other thing I wanted to show was the color. Sphalerite, if you saw the show the other week on the Founders Collection of Faceted Stones, boy, beautiful high-grade sphalerite, has such a high dispersion. So from what I was seeing in the sphalerites was definitely different little triangular shape formations. I can't see them as distinctly now as I did earlier, but they're in there. And this is the kind of fun you have when you get a crystal at home, is you sit and you get all the goodies out and you check it out. Let's look at the color of this for a moment. There we go. Look at that yellowish orange color that it is. Sphalerite is so well known. And a piece like this, you can't really always tell the clarity due to the saturation of the color it is, because you can see translucency, but then it stops. Look at the edge of that. I often wonder, look at just how clear, how transparent it might be if you get past what we're seeing on the surface. So that was just a neat sphalerite crystal. And from what I saw, yeah, sphalerite definitely has, and what Barbara had sent definitely is something that has trigons on it. And as that other one did, and the one Barbara showed in Mindat. Now, let me show you a zircon item. This, what I'm getting ready to show you, is a beauty. It's 1270525. 1270525. Now, if you have not 0525 today? Yeah, 1270525. Look at this. Look at this. So, I always like to compare other crystals next to other just for color, because it's all natural colors. Yeah, we don't deal in any of that heated stuff. Oh, by the way, speaking of heated stuff, I was going to tell you, which I normally don't, but I was going to tell you a little trick about tigerite. If at your risk want to play around with a piece of tigerite, you've seen red tigerite, right? Well, red tigerite can occur in nature. All it has to do is be near something that has a little bit of heat to it, and it will turn it red. Let me tell you. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. You can heat treat. I shouldn't do this. I said to myself long ago, I was never going to tell people how to heat treat anything, because I don't want you blowing up your stones, which is always a chance. So test it first. You can heat treat tigerite in your home oven, and I'm not talking about at the maximum temperature. You can play around with it, and you can probably watch it turn. You can even do it in one of those small counter ovens. And I'm not going to say toaster oven, no, but a counter size oven. Now, if you damage or do anything to your tigerite, that's up to you. But the majority of the red tigerite you see out there is heat treated regular yellow tigerite, even after it's finished. So I actually have had really good luck. Nothing has exploded on me, but work around 350, 400 degrees. See if it does anything at that temperature. If not, take it up a little bit more. Don't exceed the temperature of your oven. And you will probably jump with glee at having done so. I know the first time I made red tigerite, I said, this is beautiful, man. I want to make more of this stuff. Okay, so speaking of red, look at this. We have red Pakistani zircon. And these zircons, you can see how large that is. This is a nice large crystal. Look at that. This has a face here on it. So it's almost a complete crystal, missing some on the back side. This was probably attached to a matrix wall like this. And but still a classic example. A really nice large crystal here. And I have this, here's another crystal right there as well. Biotite mica. Super sale priced. How about $38 only $38. And by the way, I didn't check this one, but almost all the red zircon fluoresce a wonderful yellow. So check it for the fluorescence as well on that guy. Now, the next item is another one of the Pakistani 4s. This is item number 1270425. 1270425. It was red zircon, it was sphene, it was triplite, and it was pink apatite for the 4 Pakistani 4 specimens that I recommended everybody get one of. And look at this. Here is a beautiful sphene specimen with a twinned crystal right there, you can see. Wonderful, wonderful green yellow color tone to it. Wonderful fluorescent calcite also. Fluorescent calcite in this piece. And you have a scattering of sphenes and then this really, really nice twinned sphene. And I know, isn't that neat? Look at that. And you can see the twinning of it is very distinct. So a twinned crystal is defined as a crystal that shares another one of its faces with another one. This one, it almost looks twinned this way and twinned in this way. So it looks like almost 4 crystals coming together there. That would be pretty cool. And that means I am giving away a really cool specimen for not a really cool price. Someone picked this darling up for only $38. I kid you not. I know, $38. Oh, I know, wow, I was right. Wow, I was wrong. All right. Okay, okay, let me grab what I want to grab. I'll be right back. All right, here we go. I want to get in as many items as possible, so I'm not going to take these out. But let me tell you, Miss Barbara, who is as sharp as a tack and super smart. She's a member of the Geek Squad, I guess. Well, no, I won't use that. That belongs to someone else. A group called the Geeks, internet group, and they're all rockhounds. And everyone says that they're the dumbest member of the group, and I haven't met. I don't know a single one of them that isn't on a level. I tell you, of me. I mean, we got Larry, we got Brad, we got Miss Barbara, we got Miss Gabby. They're all big-time collectors, and wow. So Miss Barbara bought the last diamonds because they are such a deal. She said if any of other friends need a diamond that falls out of the ring, she could provide them one really inexpensively that way. This is Earth Mine. Let me tell you, if you buy a lab-grown diamond this week, it will be worth less next week. And that amount of time frame is about really what it takes for your price of your diamond to fall in the lab-grown market. The lab-grown, the only publicly traded company is now trading at a fraction of a penny, basically worthless. And the IPO was only like a year ago, and it opened at like $11 a share. And it was a publicly traded company to make lab-grown diamonds. Belly up, belly up. Just, India is cranking out so many of them, and they have all these reactors making these diamonds. You can grow a 1 carat in 2 weeks kind of thing. They're speeding it up. It's like how big of a diamond you want. They have so many diamonds, they're cutting diamond rings. In other words, entire ring cut out of a diamond. They don't know what to do with them. Earth Mine Diamonds, they're shuttering diamond mines across the globe. So, yes, lab-grown diamonds have affected the Earth Mine diamond market, and there's only one place Earth Mine diamonds can go by way of value, and that's up. Lab-grown diamonds, there's only one direction their value can go, and that's down. When cubic zirconia first came out, the Russian cut ones went $100 a carat. Now, 50 cents. You can get it 1 carat for 50 cents. Nice, well-cut stone. So, and you can go on and on. Same thing with whether it's moissanite, anything. Unless it's earth mined, the value is going to go down. Because if you can make them, well, someone's just going to make more of them and more of them and more of them. Not here. These are breakouts. It's the only reason I can sell them for this price. You can actually, I did it this way. You can actually see the differences in color. So these are not as, because this is on a yellow yellow background. These aren't as off color as they look, but these are super white. So they are going to compare, look at the difference in color. Anyway, these are some really nice stones. SI clarity, 2 to 2.7, 85 points. And I have these at only $150 a carat, making it $127. 120. You know what? Just let's do this. Make it $119. $119, and to replace those, it would be 3 times that much in the market. Now here, this next one, item 124 5425. 124 5425. Why this little guy has not sold? I have no idea, because all of us loved this piece. Rightfully so. Now hold on, because when we talk about a crystal in crystal, there is nothing more obvious than this. Look at this. This is that fish, that famous fish I've showed before, with that perfectly euhedral 6-sided shape, if say that 3 or 4 times, blue sapphire within this yellow-green tropical fish, carfish. Look at those 6 sides. Look at those 6 sides to that crystal. That is so unique and intentional. Obviously, the carver wanted to do that. And these fish, I think I have sold every one of them. I, one time, was lucky because I saw a deal and I bought every one they had. Now, this is going back a decade or so, a long time ago. Well, they were mined in the 80s, so I got these after that, and I had them for a long time, and finally decided to sell them. So I don't think I have, this might be the last one I have. Everyone, they were so inexpensive. I know exactly where they came from. The fish, the Horse Gully, which is known for these party colors, these multicolors. Now, I'll take the diamonds away from the background. Let me just show you what it looks like in general. How cool is that? To either you can make it into a pendant or you just put it in a, you know what, I am going to throw in one of those transparent cases. And, I'm so generous. Well, I say that because these things cost money. Look, you can get a brand new one of these. And I'm not even going to unwrap it. You can just picture it in there. And that way it can be displayed and you can see all its amazingness. And yes, that's a word because I made it up. But not quite like the ones Raven makes up, like Scooby-Doo right for Scooter-Roo-Dite. Oh, she's got many of those. Look at that. Look at that. All right. So I am going to make this a deal and take advantage of it, because no matter, even if it wasn't carved, it was just sapphire at 906 carat. The price per carat I had offered this was less than $10 a carat before. And I don't understand. So, let's go ahead and do this. Last is going to get the F next to it, meaning final price. I'm going to make that thing $8 a carat, make it $72. $72. And that is a fun, choice, unique, rare piece. Okay, look at this. Item 122 6424. 122 6424. This is one of the last ones we have. It's one of the biggest ones also. Look at this. Look at that. That is beautiful stuff. Wow. Look at that. And it has where the soft body part of the fossil, which this is a belemnite. Belemnites were related to, look at that. How cool is that? We're related to like the orthocerises and they're a cephalopod. And cephalopods, of course, have little tentacles in them. And the soft part of the body would be in here. So you can see it still has some of the fossilized part where the inner part where the soft guts were, so to speak. The opal replacing the shell part. And of course the inner part wouldn't be able to be replaced. Sometimes it fills up just with sediment. But it's really cool for that still to be there. Look at the crystal quality of the opal. This is a really fine piece, and you can see the blues and the purples in this, and just how crystalline it is. It's a really nice large piece, and you can see wonderful blues reflecting out of this, and just a nice high quality, just a really nice high quality belemnite, especially with the open area on the inside. I have this one also at a huge opportunity, and believe me, in person it's even more magnificent. I'm looking at it now. Price on this though, it is a big opportunity. I am offering this guy for only $148. $148. Now, if that's a budget buster, let me see. Oh, I don't know. This one might be about the same. We'll see. 122-6124. 122-6124. I only have a few of these guys left, and here is another one. So let me show you to compare the two in size. You can see this other one, and smaller. But I tell you what, I think the color is going to be dynamic in it. Let's take a look. Let me put this one away, and let's look at the fire in this guy. Oh, look at that. Look at that beautiful green showing up right there. Just illuminating. And yeah, look at the purples, the blues in this. And again, it's all about light and just getting the angle right to be able to see everything in there. Look at that. That's amazing. This, to think that this is, anywhere from, the age of the dinosaur, which of course were made extinct 66 million years ago or so. And this was 66 to 235 million. So it had a good run. It had, almost a 200 million year run of life. Look at that. Look at that color. That is so cool. And you can see the end of it wasn't one that, oh, wow. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. These are getting harder and harder and harder to find. Of course, price on this one, I have a really excellent deal. If you don't have one yet, look these up and see what you'd have to pay. $98 on this. $98. And that has some nice flash to it for certain. Now, let me show you. Let me put these diamonds up. Oh, yep. All right. Let me tuck that away. I'll be right back. And we're back. Here we go. All right. Now, this is a floater. Since you know what a floater is, remember, it's not connected, and you can tell both sides of this, both ends of this is terminated, so it wasn't connected at the ends, and you can see these wonderful crystals all the way around. This is actually a very interesting aquamarine crystal because of the other minerals on it and the way they have formed. Look at that, how cool that is. So this is a piece that has, well, I actually named it. Let me make sure. Yep, Lucky Sevens. It is Lucky Sevens. It weighs 77.77 carats. This is has albite is the white, and shoal tourmaline is the black, and then you have this little sidecar crystal right here that you can't hardly spot, but it's just a lovely, lovely crystal of aqua with a growth that normally I would say, okay, maybe you could remove the exterior, but you wouldn't want to because of all these really fun other crystals on it. Lucky Sevens right there. That means that, well, it would only make sense that the price would be discounted big time to $77. Only $77. I tell you what, let's do something else here. I am going to make that only $67. We'll get a $67 on that one. And if you go and try to look for other aquas of any kind that have any kind of cool factor to them like this does, they are expensive. Let me show you something that is expensive that I guess we don't have any native ore collectors out there. No, you know what? That was that silver specimen. I was going to show that, but I think that one needs to go home. I showed it. You know, remember, just so you know which one I'm talking about, I'm just going to flash it in. Here it is. That incredible silver specimen. Have you seen how much one of these is selling for now? Okay, I'll tell you what. This is absolutely the last chance, because that piece is such an amazing item. Item number 1233824. 1233824. And if you look at this, this is the one where I said you could pop off this seam right here where all the crystals of silver are. You can see this would be no problem. And I bet there's nothing but silver underneath that. So this is a edu specimen, in other words, an educational specimen to let you understand how native ore bodies, whether it's a galena or whether it can be an iron ore or gold and silver, they will fill in the little fractures in between the matrix that it is in. And in this case, you can follow, these are silver crystals, following that right along there. Look at where the crystals are growing all the way to the other side. Look at that. Look at that. I know. With very little effort, I could pop this entire top up, and I'll bet the silver extends underneath there. It would be hard to imagine that it wouldn't. Look at this. This is some of the very desirable arborescent, in other words, tree-like crystallization. You can see this crystallized in a free environment where it had the opportunity to. Also, though, if you look at this, it looks like someone or nature popped off a piece of it, and this was either what was underneath or gave it a chance to grow. This specimen of silver in the ore body from the world famous Emitter mine, which is a mine with it's over a mile across the top. It is a open pit mine. It's an amazing thing. I have it on my camera, a picture of the mine, and it's like, wow. These crystals came out, they said, as I forget how many years ago, but I got in on them right after they came out, these silver crystals, and I have very little of this material left. Price on this, I have nowhere to go. I'll give you everything I have on it. I'm going to make it $248, and that, if that went into auction, it would be into the $800, $900. With the price of silver going up, it has made these ore body minerals, like gold specimens, etc., cost a fortune, a small fortune. To get that for only that price is, you know, again, I go back to buying the quarter for the nickel type of thing. That is a rarity, and you can study and learn about the different silver minerals that contain silver that can be found with those type of specimens, and just learn all kinds of things about them. Item number 124-4125. 124-4125. And I tell you what, this specimen, this stone is such an amazing gem. I think we might have to be the last item on the show. I'm going to take it out of its little cover because it's going to take a moment to talk about it, and so you can appreciate exactly what you're looking for or looking at. You should be looking for. Look at this. Look at this jewel, and it is a jewel. Look at that. Burma, Mogok, Burma. That's where, of course, the famous area where the rubies are from. Look at that. Look at that. I know. This is a blue Burma spinel. If you go and look up the price of a stone like this, I did. I was gobsmacked. Look at the cutting on it. You can tell oftentimes when you have a really nice stone, you have really nice cutting. And this one is cut very well. It is, you can see the millimeters. Look at the brilliance to that. And, you know, that's not me backlighting it. That's against white, which often can wash out colors. But it's really picking up some of the true color tones in that. And that is the color of blue spinel. You know, spinel doesn't get like the color of a sapphire. The closest you'll come to that is if you get a cobalt spinel, a true cobalt spinel from Vietnam. Those have that stunning bright blue color. They also have a incredibly expensive price. These are the next best blue in the spinel world. Tanzanian blues, they are a darker blue. They are not as nearly as attractive, and also not common. To get a good blue spinel, it needs to be a Burma stone. It needs to be Mogok material. And if you ever wondered where the word spinel came from, it's a Latin word from spinella, meaning little thorn, and that is reference to, anybody know? I wish y'all were in front of me so you could shout out like I was, a professor with my students in front of me. The crystal, because of the shape of the crystal. The crystal, remember, is a isometric or cubic, which is this is often found like two pyramids base to base. So it is sticking up and it looks like a thorn off a rose bush. At least, back in olden times when they were coming up with names for things, getting creative. So this is a incredible opportunity, and a wonderful color. Now, I shouldn't discount this stone at all. This is an old stone, and just go and look at pricing on some of this material. Being the last item on the show, I'm going to put a special deal. If you waited to get this stone, because I have shown it before, then I guess the waiting is paid off for you, because I am now discounting this to a price I will not go below. So this is your chance, and if I end up keeping the stone, that's fine with me on something like this. You're talking about a Mogok Burma gem. $176. Yep, $176. That's only $100 a carat, and that gets a final price next to it. It's clean, it's cut well, it's a beautiful gem, and it's certainly one that can easily command that price. $1,000 a carat, yeah, you could expect to see that, and you may very well research it and see that to be the price. And then you're going to say, wow, I hope that stone's still available. I better go buy it really quickly. Okay, you know, this is the one other thing that bugged me. So this will be the last thing, but it kind of ties in with those. Item number 1268125. 1268125. I had talked about these sapphires before. We had looked at these, and we were all simply amazed at the quality. These are those stunning opportunity, especially if you're a cutter on. Look at that. You can even see the blue. These Australian gems. These Australian gems. And let me do something here. See if I can't enlighten you a little bit. And I know Latif will be here in a moment. Here we go. If we could just follow me up here. Look at this. There we go. Look at that. I am telling you. Wow. Wow. Now, sapphire is can be dichroic. It can change color with the direction you turn it. That's why you may be seeing some of that. That's why it's so interesting when I have shown you gemstones with the little spot of blue and the culet giving the beautiful color throughout the whole gem. Cutting is important, and the knowledge of how to cut something properly is often not always learned by the cutter. Many times they just go with whatever will cut the heaviest stone. Look at this. You can see the 6 sides to the crystal. Look at the color from the base. You can see that it's alluvial, so it has been tumbled in a stream. You see the roundedness. These are amazing just for the educational part of learning about Australian sapphires and how they look and compare to other sapphires, because they'll have some inclusions different than other places. This is a beautiful gem, and it would facet a wonderful stone. Let me show you another one I have here. Every one of these, look at that. That is just facet grade blue. Look at that. Look at that. And any good cutter can orient that and cut a gem out of that that will have that valuable sapphire blue color. You see how the blue in this is different than the blue in a spinel. The blue in a spinel, they can't help themselves. They tend to pick up a little bit of gray or sometimes even a green. Let me put this up here. And you can see that. Let me move that. You can see the variance. That's on the bottom. Let's see on the top. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So you can see it's not, it doesn't have that depth of blue. It's a different blue. And to get this many sapphires that do not have green zoning in them, being Australia, or yellow zoning in them, that is really unique. So that is another one, and the last of them is this one. And this is quite the collection for a sapphire lover. Look at the blue in that. Rich, rich colors. And cutting properly will completely bring out, that almost looks like some trigons right there, will completely bring out the beautiful blue color when cut properly, which these would be easy to do. It would reduce the saturation and bring out the color. And then with the light, you would have that brightness to it. Let me add a little more color to the light to this piece. Look at that. Look at that gem. And even if you don't cut stones, look at how beautiful the crystals look. They are nice crystalline form. They've just been tumbled down a stream. All right, that's the last item of the show. Price on this is a amazing deal. Amazing deal. Actually, really amazing deal. Wow. That should be hundreds of dollars. I don't know. Hundreds of dollars. Instead, how about this? Here we go. Crazy Shawn. Last opportunity. Final price. Take it or leave it kind of deal. And $64. Yep. Only $64 on the entire parcel of sapphires. If you try to find some sapphires of that quality in the market, if you're a cutter and go to the sites that sell that kind of material, you could expect probably to pay close to that per stone or per carat. So, you know, at 13.73 carat, there, like I said, there's hundreds of dollars worth of material there. All right. I didn't get to everything I wanted to, but there's always next week. I'll be right back. Let me tuck those away. Okay. That's all, folks. Not really. There's more, but that's all we have for time. Many, many opportunities today. I hope you like and enjoyed the $28 turntable. And for those of you that have joined us recently, I really appreciate your purchases. Since I can't thank you through a sales rep like a live show, or send you a note to a sales rep like in the live shows we could do, this is the best I can do. So I want to thank all of you who have supported the show for so long, and for those of you who have been recent supporters, I am really grateful for. And you're coming into this show at a super time for value, because I've been doing a summer sale clearance. I have some, like Mr. Anthony said, a teaser, which I've done out there. So I'm going to tease everyone again. Just pick up these items at those prices. You know, how many items were on that turntable? Maybe 15, 20, 15, I don't know, 10, whatever you want. Even if you bought 10 specimens, it's only $280 for 10 incredible opportunities. Your choice. To say pick out the 10 best that you like. It's not that much money to get a level of value that exceeds it by many multiples. And those of you that have been regulars with the show know that. And so now, being the summer closeout time, if you've been joining the show just recently, all you've been doing is getting those really items at the lowest possible price. So excellent time to join the show. And in that offering I just did of the $28 specimens, to be honest, every single one should be sold. Every single one should go, because I made sure if it was $48, I put it down to $28. If it was $38, it was $28. If it had already been marked down, I marked it down more, just because I wanted to fill both levels of the turntable into a $28 price point. So take advantage of it, and I thank all of you, and especially the more recent clients that have joined as well, for your support in the show. I really do, and your continued support. Bear with me. Cool things are coming. I can promise you that. And really cool things are coming. So not sure. It's not going to be months. So it's not going to be months. It'll be sooner than that. Can't say exactly. I'm wanting to say, but I can't. Okay, so I've had fun. I hope all of you had. Take advantage of those opportunities, please. And maybe I can get that tooth yet. But then, I may not look like the old grizzled miner 49er that kind of gives me, as our CEO said, an authentic look. Like and subscribe. I'd appreciate that, since now I know I've supposed to have been saying that for the last 8 years. And watch the show, enjoy the show, learn from the show, and make an occasional purchase from the show. And I would be beholden to you. God bless all of you. Be safe. Stay away from swollen creeks. And watch out for the unbearable sunshine. Cheers. See you next Monday.